Welcome to part 2 of Hemlock's discussion of The Town That Drowned by Riel Nason. So in her first video, Candace took care of business. She talked about what the book was about. She talked about some themes that she felt came up. She left amazing resources that I suggest you guys check out. They're just in the description of the video, and they're historical photographs of the New Brunswick area, kind of pre-flood, like the area that Riel Nason is talking about in her novel. So I would go check those out if I were you, because I found them very helpful and very interesting, because I found it very useful to help me visualize what the area may have, well, did look like. So like Candace said, The Town That Drowned is like a coming of age story, and Ruby Carson, who is our protagonist and narrator, is kind of coming to terms with her own youth, like growing up in a climate that is kind of difficult for her, and for really anyone, I imagine. So do go check out Candace's video, because she gives a great summary of the plot, great things to think about, and I'm just going to build off of that, like usual. So my experience with maritime Canadian literature is pretty limited. I've read Alistair MacLeod and Michael Crummy, but not too much else. So this was a really great step further into that place, and I really enjoyed this book. It was, like Candace said, it was very sweet. Riel Nason is a damn fine writer. She something that I really can appreciate in the work of a good writer is that, like, the prose isn't showy. She just lets the story be told, which is nice. Like, everything is so I don't know, like, just precise and comfortable. The pacing's great. Like, the story can just be told. She's not trying to remind you that she's a good writer, you know? She doesn't use these showy phrases or anything. She just lets it be told, and she is very good for that reason. In fact, I was surprised that it's her first novel, because it's just really tight. So I really enjoyed reading this, and I really enjoyed kind of engaging more with a region of Canada that I've only experienced through literature, but also not that much, like pretty limited still. But something that I was thinking about while I was reading The Town That Drowned is that in the maritime literature that I've read in the past, there's a lot of interest or I guess focus on lost ways of life. That seems to be something that happens in maritime literature more than, say, like prairie literature. And I'm thinking here of like urbanization. And of course that's something that happened all across Canada and all across like North America, but in maritime literature, from what I've read, I find it to be the more central theme. So here we have this town that is being told that they're going to be like wiped out by this industrial force, this like the hydroelectric dam that's being built that will literally like wash them away. So this way of life that they're used to, this kind of rural small town community, is being wiped away. And I was thinking about this in the context of like the Canadian, okay, so the Canadian centenary also kind of takes place in the time of the novel, and so I was thinking about that, because there's a lot of conflict in the novel between the characters, like the local and the government. And there's a lot of suspicion towards the government and just general unease. Understandably, that would be frustrating to say the least, to be told that you have to move because your home is going to be washed away. There are moments in the novel where, say, they receive like little pamphlet postcards or whatever, saying, what will you be doing to celebrate the Canadian centenary? And of course, probably nothing. They're upset with the government for uprooting them, and I don't know, it just made me think of like what kind of Canada the government's imagining, as opposed to like what's really happening, like how people are really living. And so of course the government is privileging urbanization. Like, they're building a whole new town. Like Candace made a comment about space in Canada and the Canadian identity, how we kind of like think of ourselves as having all of this room, and I think that is a way to think about like kind of like pre and post industrialization in Canada. Even though this was set in the 60s, there were still parts that were kind of untouched and allowed to be rural places. And it was a lot for me to wrap my head around the fact that they would construct a new town on one person's plot of land. Like, there was enough space on this one person's land to build a new community. This is dense and uniform and not at all like what they had been used to. And Candace said that she would have liked to have seen the vision that Ruby had at the beginning of the novel carry throughout the novel a little bit more than it did, because it did come up once in a while. But yeah, to me at the beginning of the novel there were real suggestions of like a kind of like magical realism element to the book, and then towards the end it was just sort of like meh. It was just sort of like this is something that happened, but it was more coincidence than anything. And I would have liked to have seen that sort of thread be carried throughout the novel, rather than sort of like left behind. But also, like Hannah said, like, it was just such a great novel. It was just so charming, and it was the right novel for me at the right time. You know when that happens? And I really enjoyed it. I was texting Candace while I was reading it. Like, I had such a crush on this like Troy guy. Oh my god, he was so charming. Oh, Troy. Why don't you come over to Goodreads and then we'll all just talk about it there in a little bit more depth. So I'll leave all the links below like usual, and thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who read along, thank you for reading along. If you didn't read along, that's okay. There's still time. You can grab it and just come back to this video or come back to the Goodreads thread and talk to us about it then. I really love this novel. I thought it was like very well crafted. The story was excellent. The characters, oh my god. Riel and Nason really populated the novel with very like rich characters. Even these like side characters who would just kind of come in were their own people, and you really felt like that they had lives outside of the text, which is you know, the mark of a skilled writer. Well done, Riel and Nason. A+. Would recommend. Would read again. So next month we're going to be talking about Kim Thuy's Man, which is coming out. It's actually coming out towards like the end of August. So this will be kind of a unique Hello Hemlock situation in which we'll be discussing the book before it comes out. But I still encourage you guys to come check out the videos. We'll try to be as spoiler free as possible. But I don't know. I guess I'll leave you with a teaser. I loved this book. I read it in one sitting, and then I put it down, and then I started it again, like right away. It was just so good. So I'm very excited to talk about this book. So come back to us in, God, in August. Holy moly, in August. Yeah, okay. Come back then. Alright, talk to you guys later.